Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Suzy and I've been reading. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Thank you especially if you've come back to give me a second try, having seen my original video, which was my channel intro. I'll link it in the cards above in case you haven't seen it yet or you're interested. But I thought today would be a good opportunity to do my rite of passage into the BookTube community. I'm bringing you the BookTube newbie tag. If you see me looking down a lot, I apologise. It's me looking at my notes for the questions. Hopefully it won't be too distracting, but without further ado, let's get on with it. Question 1 is, why did you start this channel? And the answer is really simple. I needed something to do for myself. So I happen to be a parent, you may be, you may not be. If you are, you probably understand that you don't get an awful lot of time to do things you want to do as a parent. It's not a complaint, it's just one of those things. Your kids do sort of take over your life, and I really needed something that was to do with me as a person rather than me as mum. I will admit the fact that putting yourself out there on the internet probably isn't the first thought that might come to mind in terms of a self-care tactic, but it's the one I've chosen for good or for ill, and I figured it was a good idea to push myself out of my comfort zone. BookTube is going to be a challenge in so many ways. I've never been great in front of a camera, but it's time that I started taking life by the horns a little bit, and this is the way that I've chosen to do it because BookTube just seems like such an incredible community. I just really wanted to be a part of it, and books are something I'm hugely passionate about. It's one of the very few things actually that is a sort of a sole interest of my own that I'm really passionate about. You know, obviously I'm passionate about my kids and my family, but it's you know, that's something that I share. This is the only thing that I really do for me, and BookTube is just an extension of that. Also, I started this channel because my husband was sick and tired of listening to me talk about books. So really, this is keeping my marriage afloat, so cheers for that. Okay, question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? And this presents me with a brilliant opportunity to fill in one of the gaps that I left. Sorry, in my original video, my channel intro video, I teased the fact that I had lots of creative ideas planned for this channel. Was an unintentional tease because I was supposed to then go on and tell you about it, but I forgot to. The fun things that I'm hoping you'll find fun as well that I'm planning to do on the channel include lots of vlogs, some reading challenges, and a few secret TBRs. Part of starting this channel is also the fact that it gives me a creative outlet. I'm quite a creative person by nature, and I haven't had something that's offered me that in quite a while, and I just, yeah, it's a great opportunity to dig in. I'm already putting myself out there in my mind, to sort of the nth degree, and so I've got nothing to lose by really just going for it, and that's what I'm gonna do. So the unique things that I can bring to BookTube, I mean, it's probably a very ununique, is ununique the right word? It's probably not a very unique answer, but it's me. Question 3 is, what are you most excited about for this channel? And that's meeting you guys. I know, again, it's not a very original answer, but it's true. I'm so excited to be part of a bookish community. I recently joined Bookstagram as well. I'll link that down below in case you're interested, but this is not like a solicitation of my various social medias, so hopefully it's not coming across that way. But what I've found already on Bookstagram is such a welcoming community. I know BookTube has that in them as well. I've seen it on other people's videos and the communities that they have built, and I'm so excited to get to know and talk to different people out there who have the same passion as I do for reading, who have different views to offer, where we can discuss things. I would love to be in a position where, you know, we get discussions going in comments and things like that, because I want to hear what you have to say. It's the most exciting thing, and I can't wait to get to know you all a bit better. Question 4 is, why do you love reading? And this one is rooted very firmly in my childhood memories. My dad always had a book in his hand, and hundreds of paperbacks that he picked up at charity shops or sales or, you know, anything like that. And they were such a huge fixture, in my mind anyway, of my life. I mean, perhaps it wasn't such a big thing, and maybe it was just 1 or 2 shelves, and just as a kid in my mind that grew into something more. But I seem to remember there being an awful lot of books around, and my dad always reading, and I loved that. I don't know what it was that first attracted me to it, but I do know I was young enough to have that sort of take a hold of my heart. I've never not loved reading. I have stopped reading at times in my life because you get busy, you know. During my career, I was doing a job which involved an awful lot of reading and writing day to day, and reading for pleasure was, yeah, it wasn't going to happen during that time. But as soon as I picked up a book again, I haven't looked back since, and I've loved falling back in love with reading. Besides the nostalgia and the childhood love I had for reading, the other reason why I love it is because it completely exposes you to alternative viewpoints and experiences in life. I'm under no illusion. I'm a cisgendered, heterosexual white woman. I live in the UK, which is obviously a developed country. I've had a very sheltered existence because of that, a very privileged existence because of that. And what I look for from my reading now, particularly as I get older, isn't just the escapism that I wanted from reading as a child and as a teenager. It's also, I want a chance to educate myself. I want to grab that chance to educate myself and run with it, because there's so many people out there who aren't afforded that privilege. The other reason I really love reading, which is probably a little bit less serious than the last one, although serious as that was, it is absolutely of primary importance to me. But the other reason I love reading is because it means that I can do it on my own. Like I said, love my family, love my kids, but it's nice to just dive into a book and just have that bit of me time. It is quite a solitary pastime, I suppose, unless of course you're on BookTube or Bookstagram or Bookstagram. Sound like a really bad Sean Connery impression. Other people might wind down in other ways. I know my husband likes gaming, for example. But for me, it's all about a book. It gives me a chance just to be me, just to be me on my own for a little while, and I love that about it. Question 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? The first book in my memory is The Hobbit by Tolkien, and I think I read that when I was a kid. And there's another question later on which sort of deals with that in a bit more depth. But I remember reading The Hobbit and just falling in love. I adored it, that adventure, the action, the fantasy side of things, where my imagination was just opened up to a whole world that I never knew could exist, even if it only existed in somebody else's head. But thank God for that. Thank God for that escapism, because I'm sure we've all had times in our lives where we've needed that. And that's where my deep love of fantasy comes from, is from reading that one book at that particular age where it made all the difference for me. As I mentioned earlier, there was a period of my life where I didn't read for a very long time, and didn't read for pleasure. Anyway, read loads, but none of it was by choice. It was all work related. But one of the series that got me back into reading was The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. So I won't go into too much detail about it, but it is a 4-part, fully finished series. The more you talk about it, the more likely you are to go into spoiler territory, so I'll try and keep this really brief. The Faithful and the Fallen is a very traditional, very trope-tastic, but all the better for it, I will say, fantasy series. So we follow a character called Corbin, or Ban as he goes by. There are twists and there are turns. There's magic. There's a really serious threat to everyone, so the stakes are hugely high. You know, it's such an incredible yarn. Like, I loved it, and I just got so wrapped up in it. for me, the series, it's like hot chocolate. It's my comfort read now. I adore it. I can't wait to dive back in again the next time I pick it up, because no matter knowing the ending, knowing where it goes, knowing that it's so full of tropes that are so familiar, it's still such a brilliant read to me. Question 6 is, what question would you ask your favourite booktubers? I'm not going to single anybody out, but I will talk about sort of the general questions that I have in terms of booktube. And because I'm new, I'm sure it will come as no surprise that I could do with all the editing tips and tricks that you can throw at me. I mean, that one, for example, where I just fell over a word, but I didn't leave enough space to edit that out, so you all get to enjoy that sort of mini blooper as we go along. I did it in the last one, talking about P. Jelly Clark. He's one of my favourite authors of all time. I know his name backwards because I love him so much. Oh god, that sounds really creepy. But I know his name, of course I know his name, and I still fell over it in filming the video, but I didn't leave enough time to edit that out. So he was P. Jelly Clark for a little bit. Sorry. I'm really sorry, P. Jelly Clark. Not that it's likely you'll be watching this, but if you are, I'm really sorry. I did correct myself, obviously, in the video. But at the same time, one of the things that I'm really finding a struggle with this is balancing talking naturally, because you know, this is who I am. I'm not particularly formulated or particularly well prepared for anything. I just sort of ramble my way through stuff, and that doesn't lend itself to editing, as it turns out. So the main question I have is, how do you balance being natural on camera with making sure you leave enough space and time for editing? Because that's the thing that I'm really struggling with the most at the minute. I'm sure you've all noticed with a choppy edit here and there. I am trying to get better at it, but it's a skill. It's a skill. It really is a skill. Question 7 is, what challenges do you think will be the hardest to overcome with your new channel? And for me, it's time. Finding the time to sit down and film, bearing in mind that I am a bit of a chatterbox, and the fact that it then takes so long to edit as well at the moment because I'm not quite used to it. Finding the time to do all of that and then sticking to some sort of consistent schedule is going to be really difficult for me. But yeah, I am hoping to be consistent. I'm hoping to do weekly upload, even if it is just the one. I'm hoping to do at least one vlog a month, and I'm hoping to sort of make sure that I have enough content to discuss and put up on the channel, because I mean, I'm reading enough for that, and I want to get my thoughts about books out as well. So there's all these reasons for wanting to do it, and there's only one thing really not in the way of it, but that does make it a bit of a challenge. So it's gonna take some time to work out a routine and how that's all gonna fit together, but we will get there because I'm determined. I'm armed with a camera and a Wi-Fi connection. There's really nothing else stopping me. Question 8 is, when did you start reading? And this kind of harks back to the question earlier on about why I love reading and falling in love as a child. I was 7, I think, if memory serves me right, when I first read The Hobbit. Prior to that, I read Treasure Island, which was my dad's copy, and it's really precious to me. It's fallen apart, so I won't get it out now and show you, because I mean, it might completely disintegrate in the sunlight. But it's those are the first 2 novels that I read on my own, all on my own as a kid, and I loved that. I loved being able to achieve that, and it was such a special sort of experience for me, and it's one that, like I say, it stayed with me even now, many years later. Question 9 is, where do you read? I'm one of those where I'll fit reading in wherever I can. I've always got an audiobook on the go so that I can read whilst I'm doing the things that would stop me otherwise physically reading a book. But I mostly, when I'm sat there with a physical book, I'm sat in the corner of my sofa. I've got one of those L-shaped sofas, and I sit in the corner with my blanket, with my cup of tea. I'm really fun. I mean, life 10 years ago was very different. You get to a certain age, I think, and all you want is to cuddle up on the sofa with your cat, with your cup of tea, and with your book. And that's normally where you will find me. Weirdly, I don't really like reading in bed. I think it's because I really like sleep. So when I'm in bed, my brain just goes, right, that's it, time to go to sleep now. And the times I've fallen asleep with a book on my face, because I've tried to do it, and it just, yeah, it doesn't work for me. Question 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? I already addressed this mostly anyway in my channel intro video, which, as I've said earlier, I've linked. But I will just run through quickly again the fact that I love fantasy, as you might have gathered, sci-fi. I really like historical fiction, although I don't read as much of that as I do either of the other two genres. So I also reach for the odd non-fiction. I really like a good thriller, love a crime novel as well. Really interested in things like criminology, forensics, and police procedural stuff. Love graphic novels and comics. I've even started picking up poetry and classics. So that's the end of the tag. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I haven't waffled too much. I would love it if you could go ahead and give it a like if you liked it, and make sure to hit subscribe if you want to see a bit more from me. So many things to come, so hopefully you'll stick around for it. I'll see you next time. Bye. So I said so. I don't really know where I was going with that. Oh, I said so again. Oh, I'm still cracking up at it. Oh, get it together, Suze. Come on. Outtakes reel for this one's gonna be good.